Hi Boilers. So we're going to go over our math answers for yesterday. So we did this one together, so if you want that answer, you can go back in yesterday's video. Now, the other ones, remember our job was to count the squares and draw a line to break the stick between the gray squares and the white squares. So we had to draw a line between the white squares and the gray squares. We wanted them to be separate, like into groups like we've been talking about. Remember, we've been talking about making groups a lot. We wanted to break things into groups. So I drew a line between them, and then it said, draw the squares above the numbers. So above these numbers, they wanted us to draw squares. So if this was the number 1, you draw 1 square. Number 2, I drew 2 squares. So I keep going. I broke the line here as the number 3. So I drew 1, 2, 3 squares. Then the number 1, drew 1 square. On to my next one. I drew a line, so the white ones are on this side, the gray ones are on that side. Then this is the numeral 1, so I drew 1 square. This is the numeral 3, so I drew 1, 2, 3 squares. Then I move down. Gray on this side, white on that side. I have my line. This is the numeral 4, so I drew 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. And that's numeral 1, so I drew 1 square. Again, white on one side, gray on the other side. This is the numeral 1, I drew 1. And I have the numeral 4, so I drew 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So this is what your paper should look like. And remember, this is the plus sign in the middle, so it's telling you if you have 4 squares on one side and 1 square on the other, and you put them together, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is kind of like our hidden partners. These are like our hidden partners that we have been talking about, that if you have a tower of cubes and then you break them apart into 2 groups, you have a hidden partner of 4 and 1 in a tower of 5. So it's our hidden partners that we're talking about. And this is to get us with our drawings. So this is going to help us later. So this is kind of the beginning for us, and this is we're going to keep on building on this. So this is our beginning, and we're going to keep on building on it. So make sure you're doing your drawings nicely, because if you're doing it all messy and our problems and our math starts getting harder, and then you can't count your squares because they're all messy, then it's going to be a lot harder for you to do later on. So make sure you're practicing it really nicely now, so that way when you get to it later, it's super easy for you. All right, I hope you guys got all of these answers.